Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Flakes, bring you the Lux Radio Theater, starring Olivia de Havilland, Mark Stevens, and Leo Genn in The Snake Pit. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. William Keeley.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight you'll hear one of the most brilliant acting performances of our day, given by a star who has just received the highest honor in Hollywood for the second time, the Academy Award for Best Actress. Knew that great artist, Olivia de Havilland, in The Snake Pit. Co-starring are the same two players you saw in the picture, Mark Stevens and Leo Genn. You know, when Hollywood produces a picture that is completely off the beaten path, every producer knows the chance involved. But the unusual theme and superb acting in The Snake Pit made the 20th Century Fox production an enormous success, and all the risks were happily justified. Now, here's the curtain for Act One and The Snake Pit, starring Olivia de Havilland as Virginia, Mark Stevens as Robert, and Leo Genn as Dr. Kick. Juniper Hill State Hospital. Dozens of buildings, acres of land, isolated in the countryside. A city unto itself. A hospital for the mentally ill.
I just don't know what to think, Dr. Kick. You tell me my wife's improving, but she doesn't even know me. You heard her yourself. She says she has no husband.
Yes, it may be a long time yet. Mr. Cunningham, I still know so little about your wife. Her background can be very important to us.
I've already told you, Dr. Kick. Virginia never talked much about herself or her family. I always thought it was strange, but when you love somebody, you're not looking for symptoms. It's only now that I see things I never thought were important before.
Would you tell me about them?
Well, I met Virginia in Chicago at a publishing house. She came by one day to pick up one of her stories. The editor had turned it down. When I went out to lunch, there she was, alone at the table, like a kid who had been told to eat something that she didn't want.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Mind if I sit here?
No.
Thank you. Say, that story of yours, your first one?
First one I thought was any good.
Look, may I tell you something about our editor?
No.
You mean you'd rather I wouldn't talk?
No, I didn't mean that.
Well, if I wrote a story and I thought it was good, I wouldn't care what anybody said. And I'd stop thinking about it and start eating my lunch.
Why didn't you fire the editor and read my story?
You know, I might do that.
So that's how you met her.
After that, she used to drop by the cafeteria every so often, and we became friends.
She lived in Chicago then?
I actually didn't know where she lived. Somewhere in the suburbs. Somehow I felt she was grateful to me. I felt she needed me like a child looking for protection. Then early in May, I think it was, we had a big date. The Boston Symphony was in Chicago. We planned to have dinner and then go to the concert. Only when I met her in front of the office...
What I'm trying to say, Robert, well, I can't go to the concert.
Can't go?
Something's come up, something important. I'm sorry.
But what is it?
It's no use, Robert. I've got to leave right away.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Let me go. Let me go, please. Let me go.
That was the last time I saw Virginia in Chicago. She didn't come back, and I couldn't find her. I got a better job soon after, which took me to New York. Sounds silly, I know, but I kept right on looking for her. She'd known about my new job, and to cut it short, I did find her. Carnegie Hall, the Boston Symphony, the lobby during intermission.
But I am glad to see you, Robert. Very glad.
But where have you been? What have you been hiding for?
Oh, I thought we just happened to meet on the street, in the subway, or in a restaurant.
But why didn't you try to get in touch with me? Oh, well, you've got a deep, dark secret. You killed somebody and the police are after you. But I'm not going to lose you again. Now tell me, what have you been doing?
Working 18 hours a day and being lonely 24. Oh, I'm working on a novel. It's almost done. Oh, you don't know how good it is to see you again.
From then on, we were happy like any two people in love. When I talked about getting married, Virginia wouldn't be pinned down. Just the thought of getting married seemed to frighten her. And then some weeks later, she talked about it. For the first time, she brought it up. I could hardly believe it.
Robert, do you really love me?
You still don't know?
I do, but you don't want to marry me, do you?
What does it take to convince you, darling? Look, I tell you what. I'll get a few days off at the end of the month. We'll get married, then we'll go on...
The end of the month? You see? You're just trying to put it off. You don't really want to marry me.
Virginia. We were married 3 days later, the 7th of May. A few days after that, I came home late. I'd been delayed at the office. I found Virginia standing on the fire escape.
I couldn't sleep, Robert. I don't think I'll ever be able to sleep.
Oh, honey, how long have you been standing out here?
I don't know.
Come inside, darling. You're going to catch a cold.
Could she sleep, Mr. Cunningham? Or did she just say...
It is true, Doctor. The next 2 nights, I don't think she had more than an hour's rest. And then I suggested that she'd better see a doctor.
A doctor? It's such a beautiful day, Robert.
I know, dear, but we...
Almost too beautiful. November.
November? Are you kidding?
What do you think it is?
Well, May 12th.
What makes it?
We're here. Here's today's newspaper, darling.
That's an old newspaper. Can't you see? It's torn.
Virginia, it's this morning's newspaper.
It isn't. It's plastic. My head hurts. Robert, there's something the matter with my head.
Come on, darling. Let me help you.
Who are you? Why do you torture me? Why do you lie to me?
Virginia.
Let me go. Let me go. Let me go.
Virginia, what's the matter?
Let me go. Let me go. Let me go. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Virginia, don't you know I love you?
Love me? No, you can't make me love you. You can't make me belong to you. You can't.
Virginia!
I can't love you. I can't love anybody. I can't.
She stood there gasping, beating her hands against the kitchen wall. The rest you know, Dr. Kick.
You've no idea what that day in May might have meant to your wife. When had you last seen her in Chicago?
I'd say it was about the first week in May.
Could it have been the 12th?
Might have been. You think there's some connection?
Possibly. Mr. Cunningham, I'd like to use shock treatment on your wife, but you'll have to sign this consent.
Shock treatment?
Often it helps establish contact much faster. When that happens, we'll be able to start getting at the real causes of your wife's illness.
Wasn't there any other way?
Yes, if we had unlimited time. There are many things we're short of in state hospitals, but time most of all.
I guess it was the word shock that... Where do I sign?
Electroshock therapy is extreme and drastic. It's usually given in a series covering several weeks. I took Mrs. Cunningham off shock after the 4th treatment.
Well, what are you waiting for, Virginia? Don't you know by now? Get on that table.
Just a minute, Miss Davis. What's Mrs. Cunningham doing here?
She's due for shock, isn't she, Doctor?
Didn't you check her chart?
No, Doctor. Sorry, but I didn't have time.
I don't want to get on the table.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Cunningham. This was a mistake.
Take her back to the ward, Miss Hart.
Let's go, Virginia. Why does Miss Davis hate me? I haven't done anything, have I?
You'd better watch charts, Miss Davis.
I apologize, Doctor, but I'm sure I don't have to tell you how many patients we have and how few...
I know, Miss Davis. Tell Miss Hart, please, I'd like to see Mrs. Cunningham in my office.
I should thank you, shouldn't I? You're the one who saved me. The table, they wanted me to...
I didn't save you, Mrs. Cunningham. I just didn't think you needed any more shock treatments. Do you know who I am?
You're Dr. Kick.
Then you do remember me.
I remember your voice. I liked your voice. You told me I came here in May.
Oh, yes, I did.
What month is this?
October.
June, July, August, September, October. 5 months. And I don't remember a moment of it. I've lost all those months.
Mrs. Cunningham, what do you remember of the time before you were ill?
I don't remember anything. I don't even remember coming here.
Nothing about New York?
New York. Yes. I used to buy groceries, and I was writing a novel. And I couldn't sleep.
Yes, it's very bad not being able to sleep. You wake up early and all kinds of strange thoughts come into your mind.
Yes. I felt as if I'd done something, and I just couldn't remember what. As if something was following me all the time.
I know. You get to a point where you just can't see any way out, and you do things which seem impossible to understand, like trying to push time out of your mind and saying it's November.
Oh.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. This could happen to anyone.